Hey guys! Welcome to Mama's Voice. In this program, we will meet priests from around the globe. We will discuss interesting features of their lives, from their humble beginnings, their calling, the churches, and more.
Hey guys! In this episode, we are with Reverend Father Emil of San Guillermo Parish, Bacolor, Pampanga. Let us get to know more about him up close and personal.
Okay, I am Father Emil of the Archdiocese of San Fernando. I was ordained last November 9, 2002. I'm a dentist by profession. I practiced my profession for 7 years, and then I decided to enter the seminary. I finished my theological studies at San Carlos Graduate School of Theology, and I was formed in the Holy Apostles Senior Seminary in Guadalupe. Holy Apostles Senior Seminary is a special seminary for the late vocation, one of a kind in the Southeast Asia, and all the seminarians who entered there are all professionals. After my ordination, I was assigned in the Cathedral of the Archdiocese of San Fernando as a vice rector, and then I was assigned as a formator in the seminary for almost 7 years. And then I was given a parish assignment. I opened the parish of Conversion of St. Paul in San Pablo, Lubao. And then 6 years as a parish priest of Christ the Prince of Peace parish in Mawakya Resettlement Center. And then here, last May 24, up to the present. And I started my elementary education at Manibog Central School, and then in my high school at the Holy Angel College then, now Holy Angel University. And then after graduated from high school, I decided to take up dentistry because it was the advice of my auntie. My auntie was also a dentist, and she's a single. No, para bang she was looking for a talapagmana of her profession. So she encouraged me to take up dentistry. So I entered the College of Dentistry at Manila Central University, and I graduated in 1989. And then I took my board exam, and after taking my board exam, upon passing, I worked with her in her clinic, and then I decided to have my own practice. And I stayed there for 7 years. I was practicing my profession for 7 years until I decided to enter the seminary to pursue my vocation into priesthood. I came to know the Holy Apostles Seminary in San Carlos, and then it was fitted for my status. I'm already 30 years old then, and I thought it was very late to respond for the call. But our founder there then, Father Benjamin Carlos, it is never too late to respond to the call. For the Lord, there is no late vocation, but always a timely vocation. So I entered the Holy Apostles University Seminary, and then for my studies at the San Carlos Graduate School of Theology, I finished my theological studies with a degree of MA in Spiritual Life. And then I was ordained in 2002. No? Ilang taon na ba ako pare ngayon? Almost 18 years. No? 18 years na. If I recall, no, the message of Bishop Sok then, he was present at my ordination. He told me, after the mass, sabi niya sa akin, Emil, sabi niya gano'n sa akin, mula ngayon, hindi ka na manggagamot ng bulok ng ngipin, kundi ngayon, ikaw ay manggagamot ng bulok na kaluluwa. No? Siguro isa sa mga pinakagusto ko na part ng dentistry is the restorative dentistry, on how to restore the rotten tooth. No? I will compare it to my vocation now as a priest. No? Priesthood is also a work of restoration, the restoration of a soul, going back to God. Kaya very prophetic yung sinabi sa akin ni Bishop Sok that time, no? From now on, hindi ka na maggagamot ng bulok ng ngipin, kundi bulok na kaluluwa. Sabi, eating. Perhaps yun siguro, no? Hindi, siguro, my interest in all things, no, not only antiques, no, but I'm very interested in all things because of how I appreciate them, no, because every old things have their history, no, have their background, no. Siguro doon ako interested, no, kaya yun, isa sa mga siguro interest.
When we return, we are going to know a lot more about Father Emil Giao. All this and more on Mama's Voice, Mama Mary's Voice. You are still tuned in to Mama's Voice, Mama Mary's Voice. Please like and share our social media accounts to know more about our Mama's Voice. Back to our interview with Father Emil.
I was given the assignment by our present Archbishop Florentino Labarias to head the Archdiocesan Commission on Church Heritage. I think 2 years ago. ACCH is a commission, is a office in the Roman Curia of the Archdiocese as a response to the invitation of Pope John Paul II in his Pontifical Commission on Cultural Heritage of the Church. The primary role is to safeguard, to promote cultural heritage in the Church, and also for the safeguarding of work of arts in the Church. The traditions and the church as a whole. Okay, for my 2 years as a director of the ACCH, there are many challenges, especially on how to preserve and conserve our old churches and its structures, and also the traditions and cultures of our archdiocese, especially here in Pampanga. There are many traditions and cultures that we need to maintain and to preserve. And one of the biggest challenges that I encountered was last April 2019. We were struck by strong earthquake
especially here in Central Luzon, and some of our Spanish and culture churches was destroyed, and until now we are now in the process of restoring it, and it's so difficult, to restore it because we don't have any building plan for this all the structures. Uh, in order to restore them, we need the detailed engineering studies and the like, no, for this process. That's the biggest challenge that I now facing as the director, and of course on how to encourage the community, especially the parish priests, to educate them regarding our culture churches and even the traditions and cultures. Luckily, we have 24 heritage churches here in Pampanga. The second favorite place of the Spaniards during that time is Pampanga. No? And we have one of the oldest church in Luzon, or even in the whole Philippines, is the Church of Lubao, the San Agustin Church. No? And then we have also many famous churches, just like the Betis Church, the St. James Church, because of it, they maintain the paintings of the ceiling and even the wood flooring of the church. And also this church, the San Guillermo Church of Bacolor, it became famous because after the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, and it is now known as the Sunken Church of Pampanga. So many visitors, many tourists, and even pilgrims go here, just to look the church, after it was buried by the Lahar. As you all know, that the Bacolor Church is a pilgrim church, especially during the Lenten season, because of the traditions and the cultures that we have here. Before the lockdown, we are planning for the celebration, for the Lenten celebration, especially the Semana Santa, the Holy Week. We have plans for the visitors, we have plans for the Visita Iglesia, and also plans for the procession, and everything was halted, because of this lockdown, but we continue our liturgical services by means of Facebook Live, our video streaming, and then even we let open our church, during that lockdown, because we cannot stop the pilgrims going here. But of course, we follow the IATF, because that is a law. So even though we were in a lockdown, but we still continue our liturgical services and the service of the church. It is my first time, to be assigned in this heritage church. Because of the history, because of the history of this church, Bacolor was once the capital of the Philippines in 1762 to 1764, when the Dutch occupied Manila. Then the Governor General, Simon de Anda, transferred the capital, or the power of the Philippines, the government, here in Bacolor, no? And this church was very significant. It's not only, for the church, but also for the history of our nation, no? And one significant features of that history is the Nalaval, the Bacolor, no? According to the history, that time they were not able to celebrate the Nalaval festivities in Manila because of the Dutch occupation. So they transferred the celebration here in Bacolor. And since then, every year in the third Sunday of November, we have this celebration, no? And also, no, the history of the church, and then the famous may bukas pa, no? And then of course, the rise of this church from the devastation of Mount Pinatubo, the devastation of the Lahar. This is my third parish, actually. What differs from other parish I was assigned. Of course, the tangible, the church, as you all know, that this church, was destroyed by the Lahar. But what I like most is the intangible, the traditions and the cultures of this parish, no.
When we return, we are going to know a lot more about Father Emil Giao. So stay tuned. All this and more on Mama's Boys, Mama Mary's Boys. Welcome back on Mama's Boys, Mama Mary's Boys. Don't forget to like and share our social media accounts to know more about our Mama's Boys. Back to our interview with Father Emil.
The church was buried by 39 feet Lahar, no? Almost the church was buried halfway. The doors that we entered was used to be the windows of our choir loaf. No, if you can imagine how many Lahar came into this church, no. And then during the Lahar, almost half of this retablo was buried. No, these three retablos, the retablo mayor and the retablo menor, no. And then they salvage this retablo, no, from the Lahar, no, and then they restored it as beautiful as it is. Also the intangible, traditions of the church, such as their devotions, their novenas, their processions, and most especially their Good Friday procession. They used to have many traditions here, that's sad to say, na nawala na, no? Because of the devastation of the Lahar, no? But my dream, to bring back those intangible traditions, such as their celebration of Santo Niño, their celebration of Domingo de Albis, no, the second Sunday of Easter, their celebration of Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate Heart of Mary, no, and many things, no, not to mention other traditions that they have, which is very significant, not only liturgically but also culturally, no. Recently we have our Makatapak festival, no. it was started by Father Jesmanabat, no, to remind the people of their flight during the Lahar, no, and until now, no, we revived that that celebration, no. We started it last year, no, and we look forward for another celebration. We hope, no, because of this pandemic, no, we can still celebrate, no, that kind of celebration. Okay, when we say traditions or heritage, we always think of the things of the past, no. So kaya we are part of our history, no. But traditions and or heritage points us to the present, no. Especially now that we are preparing for the celebration of our 500 years of Christianity. No, my message to the youth: you can use the social media to know, to appreciate, and also use as a medium to catechize, no, the faithful regarding our traditions in the church, no. We are so glad that we have this group, the Limang Siglo, no, that this group, they are very in touch with the traditions and heritage and cultures of the church, no, infusion of our social media, no, and they use their talents, they use their energy, and even their resources for this purpose, no, for this purpose, in preparation for the celebration of our 500 years of Christianity in the Philippines. Our churches is not only a heritage building, no, but it is part of the history of the community, no. That is why the concern to conserve and to preserve our cultural churches is not only the work of the church, not only the work of the parish priest, but the work of the whole community, because this place is part of your history, no? As a faithful, your church is the place where your parents were married, the place where you were baptized, the place you were confirmed, or even received your first communion, or even you receive the sacraments, no. That is why the church is not only a building where you attend your mass and your liturgical services, but it's a part of your life. It's part of your history as a person, at the same time as a Catholic.
Having two vocations at the same time is never easy. But for Father Emil, he fulfilled being a dentist and a priest at the same time. For our viewers who's thinking of entering the priesthood life, there is no such thing as late vocation. You just have to follow the will of God. We would like to thank Reverend Father Emil P. Giao and his parishioners for this interview. There you have it, guys. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Mama's Boys. Hope to see you in our future episode. This has been your host, Karen Dane. Jamataray shene!